administration business is certainly a game of economies of scale, and you certainly need some level of economies in order to be in the business. With that said, there are a variety of ways of growing revenues at an administrator. For Lacrosse, it's focusing on higher margin complex funds, such as those in the credit and distress space, those in the emerging market space. In addition to that, we offer middle and back office services to these funds. So while there's always a temptation to equate AUM as being analogous with size, it isn't necessarily analogous with the revenues of an administrator. I think before the crisis, clearly the focus was on growth around AUM. Now it's more around profitability of client relationships. And I think historically you would find many administrators were focusing on growing AUM at any expense, even taking on money-losing business. I think nowadays there's certainly more of a focus around looking at a client, seeing whether or not that client will grow, and whether or not it'll be a mutual relationship on both sides. Certainly for us, regulations are a challenge. We have businesses in 10 countries around the world, and as a result of it, we certainly have to keep up to date in terms of all the regulations. With that said, I think the biggest challenge we have is really around on the investor side. The investors are certainly pushing administrators and our clients, the hedge funds themselves, well beyond what any regulator out there will require, whether it's around improving our valuation capabilities, improving our operational capabilities. So yes, on the one hand, it's fair to say that the regulators are changing the way that we look at business and the way we do business. On the other hand, it's really the investors that are making the biggest change. 2010 will probably be known as the year of the investor, and what I mean by that is investors are starting really to assert their authority around making demands around hedge funds and in turn hedge fund administrators, in particular around providing additional transparency, additional reporting. So I think from any administrator's point of view, they would probably point to the investor demands as really being the ultimate demands made from our perspective. Investors, I think, always cared about administrators. I think it's the degree to which they conduct due diligence that has fundamentally changed. The operational due diligence teams at many of the large institutional investors have not only grown in terms of size, but in terms of knowledge and sophistication. Certainly the number of institutional investors conducting operational due diligence, at least from our point of view, has increased exponentially since the Madoff situation. So it certainly has provided increasing burdens on administrators, but I think it's certainly something welcome to the entire industry.